Are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And today we have a great topic. It's going to be a really interesting conversation, a conversation for intelligent Black people who want to be fair. And today we happen to bring up that word, that L word, the word Lizzo. I tried not to really talk about it too much on this platform because we've already kind of talked about it. But there was a controversy involving Lizzo and Jill Scott as well that also involved a young lady that I happen to know by the name of Sharice Lane that drove me to want to have a conversation. I said, you know what? White media ain't going to do it right. We know how racist the media can be. We know that they don't want to hear from young Black people who have a narrative or a perspective that differs from the mainstream. And so I invited Sharice to come on and talk about what happened. So first off, I hope you all will give a big Black welcome to Miss Sharice Lane. How you doing today, sister?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, and thank you for giving me the platform to kind of say what I need to say and share my side of the story.
All right, and so that everybody can know, Sharice. It's before we get to the Lizzo and Jill Scott and everything else. How old are you?
I just turned 23 around 2 weeks ago, April 9th.
Okay, April 9th. All right, everybody say happy birthday in the chat. Say happy birthday to the sister. Okay, well, happy birthday to you.
Thank
Um,
you.
all right, so 23. Okay, so 23. That's important for us to, I think, understand because, I know that when I was 23, I was just learning how this Democrat Republican game works, how propaganda works. I used to believe back then that maybe life was fair or that it was supposed to be, and I learned, the hard way that it wasn't like that. And so, Sharice, let's dive into this. So, tell us the whole story with the Lizzo thing, and how did you end up even addressing Lizzo on because I just saw it on the Shade Room,
hmm
and I said, wait a minute, I know her. How did Lizzo even become part of the conversation on your Twitter
Uh,
page?
right. So, I would just say first, I have conversations on my Twitter all the time about what celebrities are doing or current events, current topics. Even when it comes to femininity and being classy and stuff like that, because that's just the type of conversations that I have on my Twitter. And as we know, when it comes to celebrities, everyone is going to talk about you regardless. Like I don't care who you are. Everyone is going to talk about you. So my tweet wasn't even to point the fingers at them. I was having a conversation about curvy and plus size women. Let me actually read the tweet before I get into explaining it. I don't know if you already have it pulled up, but I want to read it and then I'm going to explain what I meant by it.
Well, what I'll do is I'm going to share what the Shade Room put up.
Okay.
Is that the one
Yeah.
that you'd like people to see? The one in the Shade Room?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and I want everybody to know we're not here to be biased or to just cape for Sharice just because she's one of us. It's really a matter of letting her voice be heard, and media propaganda is something else. And so here's the tweet. It's right there in the middle of us. It says, "Your size isn't the reason men won't date you. It's the level of class you have. For example, let's compare Jill Scott to Lizzo. Men, which would you date?" And so I want to ask the men in the chat, if you had a choice between dating Jill Scott and Lizzo, which would you pick? Which one do you think you could bring home to mama? Would you bring home Lizzo with the booty out, or would you bring home Jill Scott? The way she appears in this picture. Which one would you fellas pick? So that okay. So Lizzo. So it sounds like you weren't really necessarily aiming for Lizzo. It sounds like she came in as part of a bigger conversation you were having. Is that accurate?
Yes. So, I was basically talking about plus size women and how, size kind of does matter, but at the same time, it won't stop you from getting a man. But what will stop you is the level of classiness you have. And then I gave examples of people who like celebrities who people deem as plus size, and I said this person versus that person, Jill Scott versus Lisa, which one would you date? And my tweet has been blown out of proportion. I know the reason it has mainly been blown up is because Jill Scott responded. She said two words. She said, "Stop it." Okay. You know, I see why she said that, but at the same time, I really wasn't aiming to put two black women against each other. What I was basically saying is here is an example of two celebrities, two plus size celebrities who I think is classy and not classy, and that is going to be what's going to determine if you're going to get a man or not. That's what I was saying. Um, but yeah,
Okay.
it was a pretty simple conversation that has been blown out of proportion. And for the past 2 days, I've gotten several messages, hateful messages, people telling me to kill myself, people telling me to end my life, you know. And
Okay.
I've also seen a lot of media sites write pieces on this, around five, 4 or 5 or 6 media sites write a piece on this, but none of them have reached out to me. None of them have came to ask me, why did I tweet it? I wasn't trying to put black women against each other. I wasn't trying to be. People have been calling me misogynistic. People have been calling me a pick me. At this point, I embrace the term pick me. I am. My name is Mrs. Pick Me. I feel like I've been through this since last year. There was another tweet that I tweeted last year, basically saying that I am the prize, and I listed the reasons why I was the prize, and that went viral, and everybody was calling me a pick me.
Mm. Okay.
But
So
I just think that they're mad at me because I'm kind of holding, especially when it comes to the tweet wasn't really about her, but now that she's brought up Lizzo, I'm kind of holding her accountable because even though she is a musical artist, at the end of the day, there are people that's looking at you, especially our young black women, our young black girls that are looking up to you, and you have to be a good example because whatever you do, they're gonna want to do. But people don't understand. They don't understand that. They don't want to be held accountable. A lot of black women want to hold other people accountable, especially when it comes to black men. Oh, the black man is this, the black man is that, but don't want to hold ourselves accountable. Me, myself, I even hold my own self accountable. I'm not perfect. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life. I'm only 23, but I've been through a lot of stuff. I've done some stuff that I'm not proud of, but I also have those mentors that put me in check that I go to and tell them, oh, I got into this situation and they get me in check. So I'm going to do the same when it comes to these celebrities.
mm,
Just because you're a celebrity doesn't mean that you're not susceptible to criticism. If
mhm.
you're in the spotlight, somebody's going to be looking at you. So that means you need to be a good example.
Okay. So, and by the way, everybody, I'm speaking with Miss Sharice Lane, and we're talking about an interesting incident that just took place online. I'm gonna give you Sharice's Twitter so you can join and follow her. Everybody should follow her on Twitter. She's active on Instagram, and she's a smart young lady. And I thought that what she was going through was very unfair. And so I wanted to just bring her in here so that all could hear her side of the story. Because what happened was that when she talked about Lizzo, the white media pretty much did what I know that they would do. Y'all saw when some of y'all saw when it happened to me, where what they'll do is they'll talk about you, but they won't talk to you. And so with black women, it seems to me that the white liberal media is pretty much saying shut up and dribble, basically. The female equivalent of that. Basically, shut up, don't talk. We'll define you for you. And I'm offended by that. I think that if they really wanted to know what you thought, they should have asked you. And the fact that these media outlets are all like, oh, this black conservative, this black woman, that blah, 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 blah. And they didn't even take the time to even ask what you were, what your point was, is kind of interesting. Now, I want to just share something with everybody. And I'm going to bring T. Khalik in here in a minute because he has something he'd like to say as well. I did a survey, I did a poll with you all, and I asked you all, I said, what do you think about Lizzo and the imagery she puts out, which is funded by the record labels. This ain't really about just Lizzo. Lizzo is very talented. She's a great singer, but there's a lot of extra that comes with it. There's a lot of raunchiness. There's a lot of booty out, just kind of behavior that is embarrassing to a lot of people and very irritates a lot of people. You don't want to see them in front of children. I don't know if y'all remember when she went to the Lakers game and had her booty out and was sitting in front of kids. This is almost like
Happen on more than one occasion. This is what we're talking about.
yeah, if I did that as a man and went somewhere and had my booty and my penis out, and I'm at a Lakers game, I mean that's hilarious to even say. I feel weird even saying that, right? They would that would be considered almost predatory behavior. I saw her on TikTok. She was simulating the sucking of a man's penis on TikTok, which is yeah, it's an app for children. So when black people speak up on this and say, why are you celebrating this image of the black woman? That's a problem. It's think about this. I want y'all to give me a yes or no in the chat. Yes or no. Can anybody think of any white woman who is just as famous as Lizzo right now, who is being promoted the same way as Lizzo, as an overweight hoe, basically? Let's just call it for what it is. Can you think of any white female as famous as Lizzo? Are they doing that with Adele? Adele is a big girl too. Not
she's lost weight, but she was big at one point.
Right. Are they having Adele twerking and pulling a booty out at every public event? Like there is no white Lizzo. And I want everybody to kind of just notice that this is what they do to you. They put you in this box. And then when black people speak up, the attacks start coming. Well, guess what? We attacking back because this is racism. That's what it is, racism. So anyway, what I'm going to do is bring in T because I want to hear what T has to say about this. I know T has a lot to say. Now I see two feeds in for you, T, but I'll pull in this one. Hey, T, how you doing?
Hey man, what's going on, y'all?
Going very well. Everything's great, man. Great to see you, brother.
Great to see you too.
All right. So, T, I know you were very passionate about this. I think you might have been the person who actually shared the article with me, and you, if I'm not mistaken, or at the very least, you said some things that made me say, "Okay, I want to hear what he has to say on this." So, what are your thoughts in terms of what transpired between Sharice and Lizzo with the Jill Scott stuff and all that stuff?
Well, yeah, I'm not shocked because anytime there's black dysfunction, that is always going to be promoted and uplifted. And in the black community, we're not allowed to check ourselves. We're not allowed to have any sense of standard because when you have standards, your community change. So what the media likes doing is they like promoting the worst of our people, so that way we can have the most dysfunctional relationships. And then when you have dysfunction, there's a lot of infighting. There's a lot of black people who cannot come together. And then if we can't come together, we have broken families and we have the same problems over and over again. So yeah, I'm just not shocked. And the thing is, it's just amazing that in our community, it's like we know we don't control the media. We have no say, no control of the media, but yet when you correct behavior or when you just try to draw a parallel for positivity, you don't even get to the white man. We can't even go to the white person promoting this. We have to fight our own people. It's just so frustrating that you got to go through your own people who are not understanding. Like what you're saying is what you're doing is you're promoting an ideology that's detrimental to your people that was never even started by your people. You know what I'm saying? I look at her situation as the same situation as Ice Cube when Ice Cube tried to come out and who came out as the front guard to stop Ice Cube from getting anywhere. Our people, I don't even think he was able to even talk to white people. So yeah, this is a problem, and I applaud her for standing her ground. I don't think black people should be apologizing at all because there's a lot of dysfunction going on that we have to counter.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you. And by the way, I'm speaking with Tika Leak and also Sharice Lane, and we're talking about this interesting Lizzo incident that happened this week. I don't know if I got a chance to mention the full results of the poll that I took, but basically, I asked intelligent black people, what do you think about the image that Lizzo's promoting to the world? And I think 5-1, you all said that you don't like it, right? So 5-1, like about 60% to 12%. 12% of you said either you like it or you love it. 59% said I either dislike it or I really dislike it. And then there was about 29% of you who said I don't care, right? So ultimately, the black community, many of the black people that we know do not like what they're seeing. They don't like seeing a talented black woman portrayed this way, in a way that's being put in front of our daughters. They see this as racial stereotyping. It is a minstrel show, and a lot of our people see right through it. And so what's interesting to me is, like you said, T, that as soon as somebody in the black community speaks up on that, the first thing they'll do is send the black person to vilify you. And Sharice, I want to ask you this. It seemed to me also that when you spoke up about this, that that a lot of white folks jumped in, particularly white gay men jumped in and attacked you.
White gay men and white feminists.
Yeah, and white feminists attacked you because they felt they had a license. Because when Jill Scott put that meme up saying stop, but she didn't say she didn't agree. That's the thing. Jill Scott didn't say stop. Yeah, she just said stop. And that can mean a lot of things, right? But then that's when white folks came in and said, "Oh, well, we got a black person that's giving us permission to attack this other black person." So they came in pretty hard. What was that like for you?
It's something I'm used to. It wasn't even just her response as to why they felt like they could say something. It was all the other black people in the comments. calling me coon and a pick me and all of this, and especially a lot of the black women calling me a misogynist. Then you have these white gay men thinking that they have the right to say whatever they want to me because they see black women saying stuff to me, and these white feminists saying stuff to me, which I had to check one of them. I said, stay out of black people's business. You talk too much.
I totally agree with that because I know when I deal with white liberals, especially, I notice when it comes to these type of issues, they are very vocal about it. Anything when it comes to like reparations or economic building or family building for the black community, you don't see white liberals anywhere. But when it comes to correcting dysfunctional behavior like this is when they jump in and get bold with you. How dare you as a black person say that? It's just very bold. And yes, you have to correct them because they think they control us. And sadly, because a lot of our black celebrities and black media pundits, sadly, they work for the media. So they are getting paid by someone white, mostly liberal. So they parrot that nonsense. So sadly, there's an image of black people that is put out as if we endorse this behavior. And this is why she was being attacked by a bunch of white people. It's almost as if she was a runaway slave who ran away from his plantation. They sent the dogs out to sick her back and tell them to shut up. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. Well, that ownership piece is really interesting, and so what was really interesting is, and I think it's important, Sharice, to give you a chance to clarify this. When Jill Scott came in and had something to say about it, which again, Jill wasn't as if she was clearly against you. It wasn't as if she said what you said was wrong. She just said stop, whatever that means. She put the Kevin Hart meme up.
Right.
It seemed then that people accuse you of pitting one black woman against the other. That doesn't seem like that's what you were doing. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I wasn't doing that at all. Like I said, the purpose of the tweet was to just compare one woman that I felt was classy and one woman that I felt wasn't classy, who people consider plus size. And when I was talking about plus size women, I was basically saying just because of your size, that doesn't stop you from getting a man. What stops you from getting a man is your level of classiness. That's all I was saying. I have conversations like this all the time on Twitter, But because Jill Scott responded and which I didn't even tag Jill Scott or Lizzo. I think either she saw it because a whole bunch of people were saying her name, or someone sent it to her, or many people sent it to her. But I wasn't even trying to get clout off of mentioning them. These are simple conversations that I have all the time with my followers because this is the type of stuff that I talk about.
Okay, so it wasn't even like you were looking for them to even be involved in the conversation. Is that accurate?
Oh, no.
That's really interesting. I think that's fascinating too. I mean, and I want to ask everybody about this. Give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of y'all remember that Lakers game? Where Lizzo went to the Lakers game and had her booty out, and nobody asked her to pull her booty out. It wasn't like this wasn't a strip club. This was not some sort of weird celebrity party. This was not a any kind of booty out fashion show. She just decided to go to a place where people don't normally pull their booties out at Lakers games. They don't. They go to Lakers games so they can watch basketball. But for some reason, Lizzo shows up like this, right? And a lot of people were offended because they said, "Look, there are children at this game," And again, I want to ask you about this, T. What if me or you went to a game and we decided we wanted to pull our junk out? Because we want to be liberated. Right. What do you think would happen to one of us if we decided we wanted to show everybody what we got and pull it out in front of children, which I would never do, by the way. But what do you think would happen to us, T?
You know what? They would rightly condemn us, but you know what, man? In 2024, if we was probably with the other community and we did that, they probably applaud it. At this point, I really don't know because there's so much dysfunction being applauded in the black community. I really don't know. But yeah, what's interesting about the classy thing with Lizzo is that it's almost as if it's not an understanding of how men view women. Because really, if you look at Lizzo, of course she's a heavyset girl, but the antics of what she does affects how people see her more than how she looks. Because if you think about it, Lizzo, she's supposed to be this empowered woman. I don't know if you heard, but she was in a couple of celebrities' inboxes. She was in that one white dude's inbox who played Captain
Chris,
America.
Chris
I
Evans, I
don't
think.
know if you remember that story. And of course, he rejected her, but she was like, "I was drunk with her." But when you have to throw yourself at men, and it sounds like you are getting attention because if you think about a man doesn't want a woman like that as his wife. How can you have a woman like that and then she raises your kids, but then she promotes that type of imagery? Like, what if you have a daughter? So you want your daughter to grow up thinking that that's okay to behave that way, and then not even realizing that when men even think about Lizzo, because what she portrays, but because what she puts out, if a dude was seriously, I mean, not even seriously, but just to entertain her, he would probably just want to sleep with her and that's it, and not take her seriously because of the antics that she portrays. So, yeah, I mean, it's not a good role model for Black people, especially young Black girls trying to come up looking like that and thinking like that is a good model to be attractive, just throwing out your butt like that.
Okay, so my question, I want to ask everybody in the audience this. And by the way, I'm speaking with T. Khalik and also Sharice Lane, and we're talking about Sharice's run-in with Lizzo and the Lizzo mob, and also some other things that happened with that. If you could, please take a second and hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. This is an example of why we need Black media. We need to have our own platforms so that our voices can be heard, so that people won't think that every Black person is co-signing on the nonsense that you see in the media. I can just tell you right now, both T and Sharice, I'm going to invite both of them to the All Black National Convention because that's the place, one of the places where we get together and we really make our own rules as family. And so if you want to know more about the convention, just go to boycewatkins.com. It's going to be at the end of October in Charlotte. And because I think we need our own spaces. We really need our spaces to shape who we're going to be, because we can't build a community. You can't build Black power and Black wealth or anything, or Black family, when you have a whole community full of Lizzos. No disrespect to Lizzo. We don't hate you. We don't necessarily like the record labels that are paying you to degrade yourself. So here's what I want to ask everybody. A quick question. Give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of you would want your daughter to grow up and be just like Lizzo? Like if you had a daughter that grew up and made a lot of money, pulling her booty out at Lakers games, and sneaking into the inboxes of the Avengers and simulating sucking a man's penis on TikTok and doing all this. How many of you would be happy, would say that's my baby, that's my girl, I'm so proud of my daughter? How many of you, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no? Would you be proud? Would that make you feel good? Would that make you feel like, yeah, she's representing the power? That's Black girl magic. Is that Black girl magic? How many of y'all would feel that way? Okay, so I think that simple question allows us, Sharice, to just, I think, make it real clear. I think it's important. We know white people they're gonna do what they do. They've been doing this for 400 years, misrepresenting us, making us look crazy. Lizzo fulfills. My wife explained it in a podcast she and I did. She fulfills two historical minstrel show stereotypes. There's the stereotype of the Jezebel, which is basically the hoe. And the other stereotype of the Black woman as the mammy. So she's the mammy hoe. That's pretty much what they are marketing her as. They don't do this with white women, and this is just real. So Sharice, as a 23-year-old, how do you what is it like for you when you are going into a world where people think that this kind of stuff is normal? Like you're a young woman, one day you're gonna get married and have children and everything else, and your whole life is in front of you. What's it like dating Black men in general? When you've got some men who have been falsely led to believe that this is normal behavior, and that what you're doing by trying to be intelligent, trying to be classy, trying to be solid, or that they think that's abnormal. What does that feel like for you?
I'm in Florida, and in Florida, it's full of city boy, city girl culture, especially in Orlando and Miami. It's hard because the type of men that are around here, no disrespect to Black men, but some of the type of men that are around here, all they're used to is city girls, and I'm just not that type. Now, I do have some men approach me that say, "Oh, you're different." Well, I know that because you're not used to the type of women like me that I am. But it is hard, and that's kind of like one of the reasons why I'm not dating right now, because I feel like I just need to get in another area with men that know value when they see it, and they're not that are not city boys, basically.
City boys. I never heard that term before. T, have you
City
heard the
boys
term?
and city girls.
Yeah, this is the wilding out dudes. But you know, this does go back to the stereotypes with the black community because a lot of us do say, you know, one black person doesn't represent us, and that is true. But what we have to understand is then when Lizzo does the things that she does, then it gets co-signed by black people and black women. That creates a stereotype because even though you're not Lizzo, when people see you supporting it and it's majority from your race, it creates a stereotype. Well, dang, all of you act that way. And then, you know, just piggybacking of the black man, if that is the stereotypical black woman that behaves like Lizzo, no man is going to treat a woman like that seriously. There's absolutely no way. So yeah, what they're going to try to do is get what they want to get and bounce. So yes, I do think that black people do need to definitely guard our image a lot better and call this behavior out because all of us don't represent it, and it is frustrating that when you call it out, we have an internal fight. Like I'd rather fight outsiders than we have to battle ourselves. It's like, yo, how were y'all raised? Y'all don't see a problem with this? Like where is this coming from? I mean, is the media has so thoroughly brainwashed our people where this is just seen as normal? So yeah, that's the problem with the stereotypes is black people need to guard our image better. Otherwise, people are going to keep seeing us in the lowest common factor.
Well, you know what's interesting is, y'all know I'm gonna take this picture off my screen before I get banned on YouTube for showing this. But the thing that's interesting to me is, I always follow the money, and one thing that a lot of our people don't understand is that all money ain't good money. We think that a Negro on TV making money is successful. That's it. Like that's all you got. If you on TV, if white people put you on TV and they paying you big money, you literally could be making that money by having sex with animals, and black people will be like, black excellence, y'all. That's black excellence, y'all. That ain't black excellence. That's like high paid buffoonery. That's what it is. And so one of the things that we got to do is increase our self-esteem to the point where we realize that just because somebody's paying you money to do it, don't mean you're doing the right thing. That don't mean you're winning. Sometimes they're paying you to be a public loser. They're paying you. They're using the money to manipulate you like a puppet. And so again, I encourage everybody to not just look at Lizzo. I don't think it has to be about Lizzo and attacking Lizzo. It's really looking at the record label. Who's funding Lizzo? Who's paying her paycheck? Who's writing the checks and saying, "Okay, girl, pull your booty out again. We'll give you another $500,000." That's what you got to look at, because if they were paying her to do something else, if they were paying her to carry herself like Sharice, she'd be like Sharice. She'd be dressed with the, nice proper clothes and speaking proper English and all that. But they're paying her to be the mammy hoe. They're like, look, we have a list of Negro stereotypes. We are going to compensate you well as long as you behave like the cartoon character that we know you black women are. So whenever anybody comes after T or Sharice and says, "Oh, you're attacking black women because you don't go along with Lizzo pulling her booty out of the Lakers game," I say, no, actually, this is a way of protecting black women, because I hear from a lot of black women who say that's not who I am. I know. Do you know how many really talented singers can't even get a record deal because they won't pull the booty out? So right. So T, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you this question, T. What do you think about this also? I remember when I had my little weird Lizzo thing, and the media did exactly to me what they're doing to Sharice. You know what they do? They'll talk about you, but they won't talk to you because they want to define you. It's white supremacy. That's what it is. I remember one of the things that I said was, why are we promoting obesity, flat out obesity, as if that is body positivity? I used to be overweight, much more overweight. I still am actually, but I was really overweight a few years ago. My wife, who loves me very much, who is a classy woman, she said, "Look, I love you, but you got to lose weight." Right. So she didn't hate me. She didn't dislike me because I was overweight. But she did say, if you don't do something about this, it's going to kill you. It's going to cause you health problems. Right. So so fast forward that I think about when you talk about Lizzo and obesity, it's almost as if they're encouraging it, like they're marketing obesity, like that's a good thing, right? So here's what's fascinating. If you were to go look at the list of the top 10 reasons black people die, right? The top 10 causes of death for black people, at least 4 or 5 of the top 10 causes of death are related to obesity. And you know this, T, during the pandemic, what was the number one factor killing black people from COVID? Obesity. So to me, when you are encouraging obesity, when you're marketing obesity to black people, you're basically encouraging black people to die. Am I crazy or am I right? What do you think, T?
No. That absolutely is the case, and I like how you mentioned your wife, because someone who truly loves you is going to give you advice to help you out, to keep you healthy. Someone who doesn't care about you, someone who's exploiting you for your money, is just going to keep lying to you. That's just a yes man, just to get whatever they can out of you. So yes, that's exactly what is going on with the black community. And what was frustrating, especially during the whole jab period when everyone was locking down, when they talked about the black community dying, you're right. They didn't mention anything about our health. It was almost just the virus was just racist. It was just a racist virus, completely affecting us only. Nothing about working out, nothing about eating healthy, nothing about changing your lifestyle to be a healthier person. It's just the virus is racist, and come take this jab. So yeah, the black community has to understand we are being exploited. Like these white liberals, even if it comes to the conservative side, they are not our friends. They just use our skin color and our blackness to promote whatever agenda. Because how are we still complaining about the same issues? Like I'm telling you, since I was a kid until now, black people are talking about the exact same issues. It don't matter how many black people you have in the politics. It don't matter if you got a black president. It don't matter if you have black congressmen. We are complaining about the exact same issues. So yeah, these people don't care about us. We are expendable to them. And I truly agree with you. Black media, real black media, is the only counterbalance to this, because only on here where you are going to hear the unfiltered truth about what is going on with the black community.
So, Sharice, I'm going to ask you a question. You may not be older. Have you ever seen The Wiz, the original Wiz? Either one of y'all?
I haven't seen it in a while, but I have seen it.
Okay, everybody in the chat who's seen The Wiz, the Michael Jackson, Diana Ross version, say something in the chat. That was one of the greatest movies of all time. And when I think about the experience of the black community, based on what T just said, Sharice, I think about when Michael Jackson was sitting there and he was a scarecrow and he started singing, "You Can't Win." You can't win, you can't break even, and you can't get out of the game. People say things will get better, but really they just stay the same. Anybody remember that? Right? And that's what I think about when I think about the black community. You can't win, you can't break even, and you some of y'all ain't never gonna get out the game. And so when I see you as a person who has Sharice, chosen to vacate the Democratic Party. Again, I speak openly and say I'm not a Republican or Democrat, but you happen to be a Republican, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm a registered Republican, but I'm still like non-biased when it comes to my views. Like I basically vote based on my values. So if the Republican Party stands for something, or let's say a candidate that's Republican stands for something that I don't stand for, I'm not going to vote for them just because they're Republican. But yes, I am a registered Republican, but I do bump heads with both sides.
Okay, and I've seen you as a Republican, and I the reason I am totally fine with that is because not all black Republicans are the same. Like from what I've gathered, there's a difference between There's a difference between the Clarence Thomas black Republican versus, say, the Sharice Lane black Republican. There are Republicans, and I believe Democrats too, that choose their side based on what they believe is best for the community. And I think that that's worthy of respect. But what I like about your line of thinking, and the reason I encourage you to continue to be different, is that if you just simply do what people in our generation have been doing, you're going to lose. It's going to be like that Michael Jackson song. You can't win, you can't break even, and then because you never got out of the game. You got out of the game. You actually let Democrats know that you have other options. You have other things you can do. I know that you, I hear your viewpoint. And the only way I can describe your politics, T, is that you're just 100% black. I don't even know if you're Democrat or Republican. I mean, do you assign to a political party, or you just
I'm more independent, but I would say I kind of lean a little center right, just due to my family background. But I definitely have sympathies for a lot of liberal causes. I do what I do like about, especially with the left, is that they're more concerned with the social issues and the well-being of people. What I do like about the right is I love the concern about the family structure, God, money. So yeah, I think we can go both sides. And what is interesting is, especially when it comes to this topic, is we do need black people on the right to represent black people. Like we can't have a situation where if a Republican get in, there's no black representation. So we just sit around and we complain for 4 years. No, we should have black people on the right that's still advocating for black issues and for black people's socioeconomic level coming up. So yeah, I do like it that Miss Lane is on that side, and I hope there are more black people like that.
Well, Sharice, so do people give you a hard time because of your policy?
I'm gonna say one thing. We also need black people on the right who marry other black people and create families with other black people. That's important because a lot of them don't do that.
Oh, can everybody clap for that? Clap for that. Give her a digital round of applause for that comment. I'm clapping because I agree with you 100%. You know, a lot of people when Judge Ketanji got selected, a lot of people didn't realize that there's never been a black Supreme Court justice who's ever been married to a white person. And also I saw a story today, actually, speaking about things on the left. Michelle Obama's brother had some incident where they feel their child got discriminated against at some uppity private school that they were going to. And he had this blonde-haired, blue-eyed wife next to him, and it's almost as if there's like an integration narrative where it's sort of like, look, if you just settle in and be like us and subscribe to our values, marry into our community, then your individual life will be better, but your community will perish. Right, because as I'm sure both of you understand, a lot of black men were locked up by Joe Biden. Right, so effectively, you then see that follow-up narrative that says, we burned down your house, but we're also offering you a place to live. So you go to the black woman and you say, there are no good black men around, so you should just marry a white guy because we're your savior. But nobody's asking that question, like, what happened to all the black men? Well, because Joe Biden went through and literally locked up hundreds of thousands of brothers that are still locked up now. Some of their sons are locked up. Generational stuff. I knew about a judge who sentenced the grandfather, the father, and the son in different generations. Like, he was a judge 30, 40 years. Like, each generation, he sent each man to jail. So my point is to say that that point that you made about black families, Sharice, and I'd like for you to elaborate on that. It seems to me that is an important point that we're kind of missing as a community. We're not talking about the destruction of family, anti-family values that are being promoted that are destroying the power base of the black community. Can you elaborate on that from your perspective?
Right. So I do identify as a pro-black conservative, even though I am a Republican. I identify as a pro-black conservative, and I say that I'm pro-black because I believe in the black family. I believe in black economics. I believe in black love, all of that. And I think that it's important to continue on with being pro-black because the black family is important. We see what has happened from the 60s to now concerning the black family. A lot of us do come from broken homes, myself being one. And there's not a lot of unity. There's not, we see all these black people mixing, which, okay, if you're going to do that, that's you. But a few years down the line, are we even going to be here? Is our community even going to be here? It's important that you build with another black person because you want the black family to continue on, and you want your children to not be confused. You want your grandchildren to not be confused. Me personally, that's one of the reasons why I say I'm going to marry a black man, because I don't want my children being confused about their identity. And I don't think a lot of people think about that. They don't think about their kids. They don't think about themselves when it comes to the spouse that they choose and the person that they choose to marry. But you always have to think about the kids as well. But yeah.
Okay.
And the thing about that is, especially the black community has such a high single parent children being coming out of it. I think that a lot aids in the gender war because a lot of just think about a young black boy never having any men around, raised around nothing but women. He doesn't really know how to control his emotions. He never had that masculine presence. So he doesn't even know how to behave around a woman. Just think about it. If you've been taken care of all of your life, you've never been told to stand on your own. You get with the woman and you think she's supposed to take care of you. You've never seen your father be the head of the home. Like I can say, my dad was the head of his home. He came home. His presence was strong. When I can feel it. And that's one man I can never disrespect. Even as I got older, I had a lot of respect for that man. Paid for everything. He's one of the guys where he'll take us all out to a really expensive restaurant and he'll pay for everything. Just a leader, and I have such respect for him. And I love my mother. I saw how he treated my mother, so I understand the family dynamic, and that's why I can't really get involved in the gender war that I see a lot of black people have, because it's like, man, if I attack black men, I'm going after my father. But then again, if I go after black women, I'm going after my mother. And I'm just trying to see, how are black people doing this? Where it's like black men are all on the black men's side. They can't find any flaws that black men do. And then you have black women doing the same thing. I'm like, yo, like, what is going on? But yeah, I'm starting to see it's a lot of this is due to us not really understanding the opposite sex, because we've never really was raised around in a healthy environment to see how we're supposed to operate.
Right. I would say, even though I did grow up not really having both parents in the home, one thing that I did have was my grandparents as an example, and I talk about them a lot because they are a big inspiration to me, and they're the reason that they're kind of one of the reasons why I'm the way that I am. I've seen the way my grandfather has treated my grandmother and vice versa. I've seen them always say, I love you. My grandma say they wake up every morning saying, good morning, my love. Read a scripture together. They've been married for 56 years. And even though I didn't have necessarily the example of my parents, I had my grandparents. And so I'm grateful, because I don't know if I would have been the same woman with the same type of values if I didn't have the example of my grandparents, at least, and showing how a black man is supposed to love a black woman, and how a black woman is supposed to love a black man, and how my grandma was able to rest in her femininity and my grandfather abided in his masculinity. I think this is very important for me right now, especially to make the right decisions when it comes to a spouse, because I want my kids to grow up with that same example that I had with my grandparents.
Well, you know what? By the way, everybody, I want you all to know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to T. Khalik and also Sharice Lane. And we started off talking about an incident involving Lizzo and the racist white liberal attacks on Sharice because she challenged the promotion of obesity and all this chaos. But we decided to actually bring the conversation back to us, which is really what matters. I mean, that to me is a better conversation. If you could take a second, everybody, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And also I'll put Sharice and T's information on the page so you can follow them. We have to create our own heroes. We have to pay attention to the people we want to hear from. Mainstream media should not be your guide in anything. And so, one of the things I was thinking about as you all were talking about, like you were talking about, Sharice, your grandparents being married 56 years. T, you talked about your strong father. What's your father's name, T?
Nasheed Abdul Khalik.
Nasheed Abdul Khalik. All right, so Nasheed, Mr. Nasheed, Big Daddy Nasheed. So what you're referring to, in my view, is you're talking about a template, a blueprint. You're talking about an instruction manual that you got as children that shaped your values and shaped your culture. And the reason I think that's so important, and this is why I think you two think differently from other people, is because you knew who you were before the media got a hold of you. Somebody else told you who you were before the public school system got a hold of you. So you're not going out into the world saying, okay, I'm gonna go along with whatever's popular because somebody gave you your identity. They gave you your culture. And I would encourage everybody to learn from that. Pay attention. You have to give your kids their culture before somebody else does. You don't want your child picking up her culture from watching TikTok videos and seeing somebody with their booty out, because then you're gonna have a problem. And the other thing that's interesting too is I'm hearing you, and this is actually why my wife wanted to implement speed dating at the convention, is because of exactly the problem that you described. When you have certain values, when you're black and you're trying to be solid and you're not trying to go along with the mainstream, you're trying to be different, dating can be hard. It's like going out into a thunderstorm. Instead of water coming out of the sky, it's like shit just falling out of the sky. It can be a terrible feeling. Like you're literally covered in shit. And what we did at the convention was we implemented speed dating. It was really successful. And Keisha Ravenel, who actually had kind of had some tough relationship experiences, she went to the convention and met another brother who's super solid, and now they're engaged and they're about to get married and everything else. And that made me happy. So what I think for everybody that's listening is that you got to pick your spots in terms of who you want to blend your life with. Like think about it. Would you go start a business with somebody who has never run a business and has never seen anybody run a business? No, you wouldn't. That business is going to fail because they don't know what the hell they're doing, right? Or would you run a marathon with Lizzo, or with somebody who's like 400 pounds, who's never run before in their life? No, you wouldn't try to run a marathon with a person like that because they don't know how to run a marathon. They haven't been training. They're not in shape. So in my view, marriage and family, that's a marathon. That's a marathon for your ass. That's a marathon mixed with calculus, because you always have to solve problems. You got to figure things out. You got to have patience. You have to have discipline. You have to have all these things. And if you've never experienced that and don't have a desire to learn these things, you're going to probably fail. So my thought is either one, if you're picking somebody to have in your life, either pick somebody who has already seen a blueprint, right? So Sharice, if you're picking your husband, I would ask him, so tell me about your parents. Tell me about your grandparents. What was it like for you growing up, right? And then if he doesn't have the things in his background that show he's seen a blueprint, I would try to see what he's doing to fill that void. You see what I mean? Like, where did he read some books? Did he take the time? Did he say, I really want to break the generational curse and this is what I'm doing? Like, I think you have to see that, because a lot of people that you literally, when you marry somebody who ain't never ever seen what a healthy relationship looks like, you literally are trying to run a marathon with a fat person. It ain't gonna work. They're gonna get 50 yards down the road. They're gonna be like, I can't go no further. This is too much. It's too much. So you need to run a marathon. The marathon of love must be run with another marathon runner, somebody who understands we got 26.2 miles in front of us. It's going to be hell, but I'm in it. I'm with you. If you with it, I'm with it. We're going to stick together. We're going to fight through it. So that's my 2 cents. That's just, I'm throwing out there. I hope that helps. I didn't want to be preachy, but I'm really encouraging everybody to think that way, because if you do it wrong, it'll fuck everything up. Like your whole life will be shit and you won't be able to accomplish nothing. You'll be unhappy, stressed out and all that. So find somebody that's going to benefit you, not hurt you. So I'm gonna let you get the T, and then Sharice. I'll let you take us out, Sharice. And T, what are your thoughts? You can just give a random thought. I don't even have a question.
Yeah, I want to talk about the black man and the white woman thing. And what angers me is black men putting white women on a pedestal. Because it kind of make us look weak. Because it's like we have to go to another race of women because we're failing with our own. And what we don't understand is white women aren't really checking for us like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, who do you think the white man is fighting his own woman about the feminism thing? Y'all are talking about, black feminists. And I'm like, that came from the white woman. Look at where the Me Too movement started off. All these false accusations leveled against black men, all this gender nonsense that we are talking about, a lot of this are spearheaded and led by white women. So it just angers me that we go out here and we say, well, I'm gonna go get a white woman and she is more feminine, as if a white woman doesn't divorce you, as if a white woman doesn't have a very independent mindset. So to me, it's just annoying. If the imagery of it doesn't even make us look good for white women, because when white women see that, it does kind of make us look weak as well, because it's like, well, what's wrong with your own women? That are you not masculine enough? Are you not ahead of your home? Are you not got your life in order? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, Dr. Boyce. If you're a man who's on top of your game and on top of your status, you're not gonna have these problems where a woman is gonna run over you. You are going to be able to see that. And if she sees you grinding, she is going to respect you. It doesn't matter what race. You can, even if you talk to the most hood of the hood rat, if she sees you as a leader, protector, and provider, she is going to respect you. It's these dudes out here that have a hard time with women, do not know how to talk to women. They're following Instagram models. They are being turned down because they don't have what it takes to be a man to lead over women. So they give up and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go for the white woman," and then they go for the fat woman because the pretty white woman want those standards as well. So yeah, that's the problem I
Yikes.
Well said, man. That sounds like you got to just get in here and have a whole relationship conversation. I want to hear more of that, man. That's a good point. You know, they say that, you know, if you're committed to your masculinity, then you just be committed to it, and most good women will respond to that and respect that. I think what I have found is that if there's a lot of resistance, though, you get into a lot of back and forth and fighting and all that stuff, and that can be very draining. And I think what I remember when I chose my wife, I was kind of in the category where Sharice was talking about. My wife was classy. You know, I know we've been friends for a long time. I wasn't even interested in marriage until, you know, later on in my life. I didn't even know if I was ever going to get married. But the thing was, if she had been, you know, a little too wild, a little too out there, a little bit too for the streets, if you know what I mean, I don't know if that would have been my cup of tea. I probably would still been attracted to her, but would I be willing to, you know, put my life in her hands and my 401k and everything else? I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, so that point that you made, Sharice, and I'd love for you to elaborate on it and share anything else you'd like to share as we bounce out. That piece about class that you laid out there, it's crazy to me that people get mad just because you say, "Hey, look, if you want a man to want you in a certain way, presenting class does help you." There's nothing, I don't think there's anything sexist about that. I will say, if my wife was not classy, I'm not bringing a classless piece of shit woman home to my mama. My mama would slap me like Will Smith at the Oscars. Like she'd be like, what is this that you drug in the front door? Why is it wrong to talk about that, Sharice? What's wrong with encouraging Black women who want a quality man to be classy and quality themselves? What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. I think people make a big deal out of it because they know that they're not the type of women that men that they want. So then they bring us down, the type of women that we are, you know, the classy women, they bring us down because they can't attract the men that they want. There's nothing wrong with being classy. A lot of classy women exist. I think that the media promotes women that aren't classy for a reason, to make it seem like we don't exist, especially when it comes to Black women. But it definitely does matter. And yeah, that's basically it. We're out there. If you're a masculine man, you might think that it's hard to find a feminine woman, but if you're a true masculine man, you're going to attract that feminine woman who carries herself in the right way. And I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, because like I said, I'm not perfect. I've done things in the past that I haven't been proud of, but I think what matters is what you're doing now and how you're carrying yourself now. And yeah, that's basically it.
Well, you know what? You are definitely classy, and everybody give a shout out to the classy young lady that had the courage to come in here and share her point of view. I hope everybody will applaud for her. And I've been going out of my way to ask y'all to do that, because we got to encourage young people who are trying to break generational curses. You know, and don't you worry at all about, you know, if you do make mistakes, that's okay. You know, we all make mistakes. We all do. And I just really, I have a lot of respect for you, and I respect your grandparents for raising you in a way that leads you to be a great young leader for the community. In fact, you made me think about King Randall. King Randall is hosting the I Am a Man March on April 30th. I'm actually going to go down there, and a lot of other people are going to go down and support him. I know 19 Keys will be there and stuff like that. So actually, I put a link, everybody. If you go to boycewatkins.com, you can find the link to the I Am a Man marches in Albany, Georgia on the 30th. Also, the One Africa Unity Conference is happening in Detroit. My wife is going to speak at the One Africa Unity Conference along with Professor James Small, Dr. Milena Karenga, Rizza Islam, a lot of other great people. And I know Rizza is also going to be down at King Randall's event down at the I Am a Man March. And I want to encourage everybody about these things, because we have great things happening in our community. We have a lot of smart people in our community. You don't need mainstream media. You got great leaders like T and this sister right here that that can give you what you need. Sharice is you're a great template, and I truly applaud you. And I really want to openly encourage you to not let any of these suckers get in your head at all. And if it starts to bother you too much, I told you, you and I were talking. I said turn off the internet. Like the internet. These people. Those comments,
they got no lives,
man. They'll get in your head so bad, and it even affects me. And when I get to the point where the comments start getting on my nerves, I just don't read the comments anymore. Like, I know who I am. I'm gonna be me. Period. I'm not gonna let your stupid little comment change where I stand. And we need solid Black people like that. So I want to say thank you to the two solid Black people who joined me today. Thank you, T, and thank you, Sharice. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Take care, y'all.
All right. So everybody have a good night. And it was great to see everybody, and God bless you. If you could hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe button on your way out. And also, if you want to support the platform, we'd love to have you as a patron. Feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. If you become a patron, I'll give you free stock selections, things like that every week to help you in your investment journey. That's the trade-off we make if you want to help support the channel. We need more intelligent Black media. That's what we represent. Ain't nothing wrong with being Black and smart. That's who we are. That's what we're meant to be. So God bless you. I love you. I'll see you guys soon. Please take care. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.